Hello and welcome to the Calling the Real You podcast. I'm your host, Pamella Horton, and I call the real you out each and every week with special guests like the one we have today. Today we are talking with Judy Goss, CEO and founder of Over 40 Females, and we'll be discussing being authentically awesome. Judy is an experienced TV personality and radio show host who has hosted her own shows, interviewed A-list celebrities, appeared on countless TV shows as a news correspondent. She is a lifestyle expert, spokesperson, and women's advocate, and is an author with St. Martin's Press. Judy, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. Welcome to the Calling the Real You podcast.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And the most important to me personally, I'm being totally selfish here, is you are a very good friend of mine and a colleague. I'm so excited and have the distinct honor of bringing you to my world. And I would love everyone to know who you are, what it is you stand for. So please tell me, how is it that you ended up being the CEO and finding Over 40 Females?
First of all, you're the most selfless person I know. So I just want to put that out there. And I want to thank you for everything you've done for me, thus far up until from when I've known you, really. You've been such an inspiration in my life, and you've really shown me the way to guide my life in the right direction. So I just want to say that, because you weren't there when I started Over 40 Females, but you've been there for a couple of years and have really shown me, I don't know how else to say it, just the right way to go in my life. And I'm so happy and so elated that you're in my life and the people you've brought into my life and the things that you've taught me. So I just want to preface with that. And do you want me to just kind of talk about my life until now in a nutshell, or start with Over 40 Females?
Yeah.
Because Over 40 Females is pretty recent. It's about 6 years old.
I want to know your journey. And I would love others to know your journey, because it's very, very relevant to where you are today.
Okay. So my being authentically awesome really is a new thing for me, but it's really taken from all of my life's ventures up until now, because I always felt that, if we are all authentically awesome with ourselves and the world, that we can get farther faster, right? So from being a high fashion model in the modeling industry, an international high fashion model, I lived in Italy and Brazil and Germany and all over the place, where that is not such an authentic world. But, I really tried to hold on to my true self through that and learn from it. And from there, I went on to having a corporate job as a casting director, photo shoot producer for international clients. I went on to be an agent for modeling agencies. I actually ended up on the other side of the camera with Ford New York on their high board, booking celebrities and all that. And I did that for about 5 years. And then I moved on into the magazine industry, which people don't really know that side of me, because it was before, the I guess magazine TV world in my life. And that really all started at the age of 39, 40. So it was just probably about, 8 years ago. And when I was at More Magazine, I was their spokesperson. And this is really where the Over 40 Females concept came in, because More Magazine was a lifestyle magazine for women over the age of 40. And when I was there, it had a circulation of 1.5. And I was their TV media spokesperson. And I got to travel around the country. I was very, very lucky. And at the same time, my book came out for St. Martin's Press called Break Into Modeling for Under $20. And the premise of the book was that I was just so tired of people paying thousands of dollars to get in the modeling industry. And I wanted to, throw out a few secrets that I knew from being an agent and a model and a casting director. So while I was at More Magazine, the synergy was there for me to be the spokesperson to their model search, which was not just about faces, it was about women's stories. And as I traveled around the country again as their spokesperson for that, I would go to the open calls for them to sign up for the search. And one time right outside of Boston, there were 350 women waiting to sign up for this search. And the women, when they met me, just wanted me to hear their story. They just wanted to be celebrated and highlighted. And unfortunately, not all of them could fit in the magazine, obviously, because there are only so many pages, right? So I went back to my desk thinking, how can I serve them and highlight them and take them to another level, when I'm restricted to the pages of the magazine. So when that thought came into my mind, I kept it there and I stayed in touch with the ladies, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. But after almost 2 years, I ended up getting laid off from more. And that was during the recession. And I was the first of 350 people, unfortunately, there. But because I traveled for them so much and I really, put my whole self into it, which I try to do, with every job that I have, they gave me an incredible severance and health insurance and all that. And while my husband's business was crashing and burning, I was starting Over 40 Females. And I picked up some freelance jobs and, kept it running on that kind of fuel for a while, and opening chapters and culminating with a networking company, which actually I never intended on opening a networking company. It just happened. I let it happen, and it unfolded to now we have 20 chapters around the country, live chapters with live events every month. And our motto is connect, encourage, and inspire. So let's see, I had the company for about 3 years, and I'm fortunate enough to get press constantly with it, both features on me as well as Over 40 Females and all that type of thing. And I thought to myself, how can we get constant press? How can we maintain this for everyone to have a voice even further than the boundaries of the networking group? And that's my radio show, What Women Want. And What Women Want Talk Radio is based on what the company Over 40 Females is based on, women's stories and their passion and their wanting to be heard. And I've had the show for about 2.5 years now, and we've hit 500,000 downloads, and we get about 30,000 listeners a month. And I've recently combined that with my whole venture of the Being Authentically You with Mind Power Technology. I've always been incredibly fascinated and a little bit obsessed with positive psychology. I studied psychology in college, and I just really feel like this is such a revolutionary discovery by Kim Serafini, and I'm so proud to be a part of it all. So that's where I'm at today.
Congratulations on your success. It's for you to intuitively want to be able to share women's stories because you saw them coming and that there were enough pages to be able to offer up the space for them to share, and for you to have the heart and be such a women's advocate to be able to allow and create this platform has been not only amazing for the people that are members, but even the members, those that come as guests. I actually have the distinct pleasure of serving as a director in the Sarasota County, Sarasota, Florida area for Over 40 Females. And one of the things that I admire you most about creating this venue for us, because we are a unique demographic, and the thing that I admire you for multiple upon multiple upon multiple things, Judy, but one of the reasons why I really love Over 40 Females in this platform is because it's not just about business. It's not just about personal development. It really is a comprehensive approach to supporting and elevating women in this demographic and really truly providing what it is that we want, but also need to either start over, create something new, feel worthy and comfortable in our own skin. And it's just a beautiful concept, and it's a proof of concept. And any woman in any one of the states who are looking to join as a member or open their own chapter, I really recommend you connecting with Over 40 Females by going to over40females.com, because it is an opportunity that you really don't want to miss. And so I want to applaud you, Judy, for giving us this, and really thank you, because it's been quite a godsend.
Oh, thank you, Pamela. I really appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah. You've really have had an incredible life in terms of the traveling that you've done in the modeling world and the experiences that you've had. Why do you think, what is it about being authentically you that lends to the ability of connecting, encouraging, and inspiring others?
Well, I always had an instinct that people's stories, were the most important part of their life. And funny enough, I didn't tell my full story for a long time, after I had gone through all the icky stuff of the bankruptcy and the types of things that I went through, because I felt ashamed that I'd been through, tough times, and I felt like people were going to think less of me. And this is a huge lesson, and this is really, I think, why I have ended up with the Being Authentically You slogan, because when I started telling my story, my real story, and it was hard, it was tough, when I first took those steps, and I got on TV with my story, and it was all over the place. It wasn't just like kind of I told a few people and then that was it. I've done several, I don't know how many TV segments now at this point, telling my story. But that's really when I started to evolve as a person, and my company started to evolve, and I should say companies. And I just feel like, it all wraps around with everything I've done and everything that I represent. And for me, I feel that, everyone should know this, hopefully before they go through, what I went through, or maybe after. It's never too late. But I really feel like this is a huge tool, our story, and being authentic and using our story to do that is, one of the most important things that people could learn.
That's so beautiful. What you're speaking of is absolute truth. That's one of the reasons why calling the real you is so important to me, because it's about calling out the real story, the real messy, awkward, possible ugly moments to the forefront,
Yes.
so that you can release them once and for all, because that by doing that you're making space for the success, you're making space for the authenticity, you're making space for what you were born to do and your life's purpose, which clearly for you is, again, not only to connect, encourage, and inspire, but elevate and be a true women's advocate.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it just like I said, it took me a while to learn that. So I'm hoping by putting it out there, with mindpt.com and other places, that people can, learn from me and hopefully not waste quite as much time as I did going through the process.
Yeah, we all are where we're supposed to be, right? But your guidance and your vulnerability, because that's such an important key as well. Thank you for your and the courage that you have. It's a strength. You really came into your own by doing that, and I want to thank you personally, because you certainly are an inspiration to me, and I know that others that are listening today, and whenever they click on the link to hear this, you will also be an inspiration for them as well.
Well, thank you. And I want to let everybody know too that it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to kind of look at yourself and think, well, this is me and I want everybody to know. But it can be, utilized in every single aspect of your life. You're not happy with yourself, you can't find a mate. You're not, using your spiritual self and your story in business. You're not going to go as far as you could normally go with that. So it really does apply everywhere in your life, as does calling the real you. It all is intertwined, which is why I think you and I are so close and working together so much.
Agreed. Why do you think it is difficult? Why do you think it is such a tough thing to do, just to shed it all?
Because you to shut what off?
To shed all of the
Oh,
ickiness,
to
or
shed it.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So, because people, I think, don't want to naturally be vulnerable. Obviously, I mean, if you're vulnerable, then people can affect you more, and you're more sensitive to things. And it's much easier to just kind of glide over the surface and not dig deep into yourself and not really, use the best of your ability, right? I mean, as you've seen me over the past few years, it's taken a lot of work, to get to this point. So people don't want to do the work, and they don't want to be vulnerable, and and I think that's a natural thing. I'm not judging anyone. I was like
Mm-mm.
that too. It was easy to be tough and wisecracks and being sarcastic, and I lived in New York City, and I this and that. But if you start experimenting, going the other way, and really digging into yourself and doing the work, then it pays off in volumes, so much more. It's just so worth it.
100%. It's very counterintuitive. Don't you find that the more that you try to hide it, the more
Mm-hmm.
energy you're costing yourself, which takes away from energy to do anything else and really do it well, whatever that project is or whatever the case may be. And when you counterintuitively actually lean into the pain, lean into the shame and guilt, as you admitted today, it's just remarkable. It becomes lighter, it becomes easier actually once you get through that initial oomph or that initial blockage.
And I'm sure your audience knows that too. I know you have a lot of coaches out there and a lot of people that are in the spiritual world, and they know exactly what I'm saying when I talk about this, and I'm sure that they are teaching that to their clients also and their friends, and really spreading the word about what that means.
Agreed. And though, I really want this to be for because we also have a large audience of business owners and CEOs and really
Oh,
C-level
even better.
executives, right? And I want them to know, because we both were part of the corporate world. And when you're in the corporate world, everything is in a nice little neat box and nothing ever really comes out that's real. And being professional, listen, there's a lot of space and room for being professional. I don't ever want to discredit being professional. Having said that, you're able to make connections much faster and prosper even more when you are the real you, and that's exactly what you exemplify.
Well,
Tell
there's a
us.
balance, and I just want to add something there. There's a definite balance there. I interviewed last night Stephanie Traeger. She's a lawyer, a corporate coach, and a shaman. And she uses the combination, and that is the most powerful thing. You're right. I don't want to discount the business world. Um, and I think there are two sides: going for all business, and going spiritually. And I do think that we have to have a balance that's right in between.
100%. Yeah, thank you for that. You have this, you mentioned Mind PT. We're both obviously huge fans. It's been mentioned a couple of times through a couple of episodes here on Calling the Real You. Um, and actually, we're going to be having Kim Serafini, who's the CEO and founder of Mind PT, in a few weeks here on the show. But what is your session about? And let me just preface by saying Mind PT is a beautiful tool for increasing happiness and change in your life in multiple areas. And I'll just caveat that. In Mind PT is an app, and within the app are expert sessions from Judy Goss, sessions from Jack Canfield, sessions from Sean Acor, and the sessions are designed to help folks in particular areas that they are looking to seek help in. What is your session about? It is titled Being Authentically You, or Authentically Awesome. Being Authentically Awesome. Tell me what your session is about.
Well, for me, it's about taking all of my life experiences up until now and wrapping it under one umbrella, and inspiring people to look within themselves, find their story, and use it to propel themselves forward even faster. So, and I'm talking about, from building a company to corporations. They Mind PT has sessions that they use for corporate training and for coaching people in the business world to finding a mate, and to, like I said before, you can use being your authentic self to the best of your ability in every facet of your life. So it's pictures and phrases, and that the way Mind PT works is in a neuroscience way, where it goes into the subconscious and flashes pictures and phrases into your brain, so you can really change the way you think in a positive direction, right? So being authentically awesome is just that, getting people to really move forward on their own with their own self, really.
Love that. It's so needed because in our culture and the world is catching up, unfortunately, with the Western culture and the way this busyness disease kind of thing, and the distractions that we have and the medications that we're on and the food that we consume. These are all things that dampen the real us or being authentically awesome. The commercials and the judgments that take place in our world prevent us from sharing our real stories. And so your tool is going to be extremely valuable for those who are really wanting to take their life to the next level. I understand you have a special offer for us today. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how people can get it?
I do. Well, to experience Mind PT, you can just download the app or go on mindpt.com. And to get my session for free, which is normally sold at $47, each session is $47, or you can join as a member for $9.95 a month and pick 2 sessions. But to test it out, you can try Mind PT and my session for free if you go in and download the app or register on mindpt.com and put in the referral code AUTHENTIC, AUTHENTIC.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Judy, for that generous gift. I'm super excited to be sharing it with our audience and community.
Me too.
Before I let you go today, is there any burning last remarks that you would like to be able to share? Final remarks for our audience about today and what your thought processes are.
Well, I think I've covered mostly of what I'm about and how people can learn from it. I really feel like that, learning and gaining knowledge and evolving to the next level is so important if we want to stay relevant in our lives, right? If we want to succeed in business, in business or really life. You really have to take a step back and make sure you keep the learning process going. I didn't do that for a while. I was just working, and I felt like the more I worked, the better, the faster I would build. Well, that's true in a sense, but you really have to have that balance of work, of making yourself, a better person in a spiritual and physical way, working out, and all that. There just has to be a great balance.
Wise words from a wise woman. If you haven't done so yet, while you're listening to this, please go to mindpt.com and download Judy's free, generous gift, Being Authentically Awesome, by typing in the code word authentic. And if you haven't checked out Over 40 Females, everyone, please go to that website as well. You're missing out, and if you're not attending any of the meetings. And I know that they have, actually, Judy, tell us before I let you go too about this. If there's not a live local chapter near someone, what can they do?
They can go onto Over 40 Females, over40females.com, and they can open a chapter themselves anywhere really in the United States. We have about 19 currently, and we're constantly opening chapters with motivated women. And also, I just want to, if you don't mind, plug my radio show real quick.
Please.
We air live Wednesday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 9 to 9:50, and it's whatwomenwantradio.com.
It's a fabulous show. She has got great guests, great content, and it's a lot of fun to listen, and you learn a lot. So, Judy, thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with all of us today. It's been a pleasure as always. And I said this in the beginning of our call that was not recorded. I feel really fortunate because I got to spend 2 days with you in 1 week. So I'm grateful for that. And those of you who are listening, thank you again for sharing your precious time with us and joining us on the Calling the Real You podcast. Please find me on Facebook. You can join me at Pamella Horton and Pamela spelled with 2 L's, or at Calling the Real You, the Facebook page community as well. I wish to take the moment to take the time to thank Eric Horton, my husband and my best friend and business partner. Also, thank you to Reverend Patricia Brooks, Lux Salon and Spa, Yola Portraits, Karen D. Felice Designs, and the transformational music by Jim Oliver. You all are such wonderful friends and great supporters of Calling the Real You podcast and myself. Thank you to everyone again. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. In the meantime, call the real you out.